Got a trifecta of stories for you today. We've got 2 recalls and a re-election that went wildly sideways. We're also going to talk about Chesa Boudin and his impact of being recalled as well. All stories from San Francisco East Bay area. Let's get into it. Here we go. We've talked about Pamela Price. She's the district attorney in Alameda County. And then Oakland Mayor Sheng Thao. Sheng Thao is the one who had her house raided. It wasn't me. It was my boyfriend they were living with. Just a bunch of crazy stuff going on. And this is shortly on the heels, not even 2 years after Chesa Boudin was ousted in San Francisco because he did such a piss poor job at prosecuting criminals. And that was his job. How'd you do? Not that great. All right. Let's read these stories. East Bay voters had their say on whether recall Alameda County District Attorney Pamela Price and Oakland Mayor Sheng. And it looks like they both chose to send them packing. With all precincts reporting early Wednesday, voters supported both recalls by a clear and nearly identical margin. 65.2 to 34.8 for Thao and 64.8 to 35.2 for Price. 65 versus 35, almost identical for each one. However, Price has not admitted defeat, and she has since then, and urged patience while all the ballots are counted. If you are down with half the ballots counted and you're down 65 to 35, things aren't looking good. It's kind of like Pamela Harris in the presidential election. Things were never looking up for her. Right in the get-go, she got behind and never caught up. Probably because she didn't run a very good campaign and she wasn't really qualified. And she was a DEI hire to begin with that went wildly sideways for the Democratic Party because their main guy, Sleepy Joe Biden, just crapped his pants at that debate, right? Oh, we can't have him running. This is terrible. Who do we put in? Let's put in Kamala Harris. This should work out great. And then liberal tears all day today, right? I'm recording this for you on the day after the election. That was a great election. Great election. Trump 2024, right? This presidential election, which has been a pivotal moment for our country as well as our state, witnessed significant voter participation, resulting in larger number of ballots in Alameda County. There are still so many more ballots to be counted in areas that I know we did well in getting our message out, said Price in a statement Wednesday. I am optimistic that when all the votes are counted, we'll be able to continue the hard work of transforming our criminal justice system. That was Pamela Price. The hard work of transforming our criminal justice system or not. Yeah. The or not happened because, she got yanked. She got the right off the stage, right? Thao's office did not respond to the standards inquiries. Interesting. Sheng Thao, why no comment? Because you're a loser? You're a loser and you got yanked? It is very, very difficult to get pulled in one of these recalls. Statistically, it does not happen very often. So that's why I'm doing this podcast, because this needs to be brought to light, right? Hey, you got 3 major players in San Francisco and a 4th that happened 2 years ago that all went down this progressive pathway. How did that work out? How'd that work out? Not that well. Huh? Yeah, they're all not in office at the moment, or they're not going to be reelected, or they're literally being booted out. Both officials, Pamela Price and Sheng Thao, both officials are progressive women of color elected in 2022. Yeah, as well as Kamala Harris was too, right? So you're 3 for 3 on big goose eggs. Just nothing happening. Yeah. You know why? Because they got nothing going on that's positive, and the voters say, we're going to go with them. Or, yeah, you're out of here. We don't need your efforts anymore. Thanks so much, but we'll be moving on. They have criticized the recall efforts against them as being waged by billionaires. Well, by billionaires, you mean concerned citizens who care about their communities from a safety standpoint? Okay, yes. The fact that they have money doesn't mean that public safety should be taken from them any more than the homeless individual on the sidewalk taking a big dump, right? And then you put it right on the San Francisco poop emoji map. Did you hear Trump or Rogan talking about that? Don't know if you know this, but San Francisco's got a poop emoji map. Both had political blunders. Pamela Price and Sheng Thao had political blunders that drove enough residents to sign petitions to put their recall on the ballot. They both had recalls against them that had significant numbers of voters. So the people of East Bay, the people of San Francisco, Oakland, they're basically saying, yeah, even though you got people in there that we would normally support, just, liberals all day long. No. And it's because it's impacting the everyday person in these areas, public safety. Yeah, their cars are getting ripped off. Their cars are getting jacked. When you've got a new vocabulary coming in, bipping, for a community, that's kind of your telltale sign that this is not going down the right path. Price, the first black woman to hold the district attorney post in Alameda County, assumed office as part of a wave of progressive prosecutors seeking to reform criminal justice across the nation. Well, that wave, it's gone back out to sea because recall, not elected, yada, yada, right? The 67-year-old pledged to reduce sentences. This is justice reform. Reduce sentences, stop charging youths as adults, even if they murder somebody, even if they just kill somebody, or Grand Theft Auto. They're just a child, give them a break, and prosecute misconduct by police. You know what? It's not the misconduct by police. It's the misconduct by your citizens. So, get it straight. It's like gun violence. That's not gun violence. That is violence by other human beings using a gun as the implement. Might as well be a baseball bat, could be a knife, but guns, so much more effective from a small distance where your bodily harm isn't as impacted as, say, a good old knifing. What happened to knife fights from the 1970s when I was a kid? Yeah, guy got stabbed in the abdomen. Yeah, but he lived. Guy gets shot? Not as much, right? Bring back the good old stabbing. But Price's tenure coincided with the spike in violence and property crime that her opponents used to criticize her prosecution practices, claiming she created a system of catch and release. That's what all these folks have in common, right? Catch and release, catch and release. Let the police do their job. All right, did a great job, guys. Well done. You caught them. And then nothing happens on the prosecution end. Nothing happens on the judge's end. No, we're just going to let them free. We're going to give them an ankle monitor. Yeah, I know they killed 18 people, but, they said they were sorry. So it's all good. It's all good. I mean, justice reform. Let's go, go, go. Price's opponents organized against her just 6 months into her 6-year term. 6 months in. I don't know if you guys know this, but this is not working out. This woman is encouraging crime like we have never seen before. Let's do the old, Chesa Boudin. Let's get her Chesa Boudin out of here. And that's what happened last night. 2022, state law modified the election cycle for some state offices 6 years. But she made it a solid 6 months before they were like, literally just 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, boop. And she's out of there, right? Or not out of there, but they started the process recognizing that in those short few number of days relative to a 6-year cycle, this wasn't going to work out. That's how progressive she was. That's how much progress she got done. Save Alameda for Everyone, which raised nearly $4 million for the recall, argued she was reducing sentences for criminals, refusing to charge violent felons, and failing to support victims of crime. Yeah, and that's as a district attorney? Interesting. I mean, that's justice reform for you, though, right? Yeah, shorter sentences for the criminals because, give them shorter sentences, they'll be back out in the street and they can just reoffend again, and that makes a lot of sense. Refusing to charge violent felons. No, they're a good person deep down. You got to give them yet another chance. There you go. Get out of here, kiddo. Get that ankle bracelet on and let us know where you are time to time. And failing to support victims of crime. Absolutely. It's been some of the major concerns, right? Of, hey, nothing's happening to honest, hardworking folks who are impacted by these losers that these politicians are just setting free. So, the constituents get together and create one of these recalls, and her office missed deadlines to file charges in more than 1,000 misdemeanor cases that have been sitting on her desk for a year. Thao also faced criticism for being soft on crime. Organizers of Thao's recall said the effort was sparked by the mayor's management of the police department, particularly by firing Chief LeRonne Armstrong. There were other criticisms. Governor Gavin Newsom sent California Highway Patrol officers, prosecutors, and surveillance cameras to help suppress crime. And the FBI raided her home as part of a political scandal having to do with a company that her boyfriend was involved with, her live-in boyfriend. Yeah, I mean, the whole thing was it was shaky at best. And you're like, okay, all right, something fishy's going on here. Something's going on. Maybe Sheng wasn't directly involved, but the dude that she's sleeping with, it sounds like, was. So, yeah, guilt by association, right? One of the most culturally striking, significant, and probably lasting strikes against Thao is the departure of the Oakland A's Major League Baseball team for Las Vegas, because she doesn't give a crap. Could care less about sports. Oakland A's, I mean, that has been there forever. The fact that Oakland is losing everything because of politicians like this. And, you know, these politicians, I didn't know. We were all for justice reform. I mean, Fentanyl Floyd, he's our guy, right? I mean, this came all on the heels of the Fentanyl Floyd thing. All these prosecutors, district attorneys got brought in. And then folks are like, okay, we're going to give these progressives yet another chance. We'll just see how it goes. 6 months in, good Lord, this isn't working out. Recall, boop, right? Thao, the first Hmong mayor of a major U.S. city, argued that she should stay put since she balanced the budget. Inked a deal to redevelop the Coliseum and stemmed a spike in violent crime. Yeah, has the FBI redone their stats on that? Did you report all the stats or all the people reporting stats? No, I don't think so, right? Stemmed a spike in violent crime to the point that the city saw no reported homicides in October. Hey, now, look at this. Look at that over there. Don't look at my prosecutor record. If confirmed, the recall will be Oakland's first in more than a century. If you enjoy this channel and you want just a little bit more and you want the good stuff, check out reasonabletv.com. One of our most recent member content stories, illegal immigrant charged with molesting a 5-year-old. That's right. Somebody who came across the border illegal. You won't find this story really broadcast out by mainstream media. Yeah, because the whole southern border thing, that wasn't a good move for the border czar, Kamala Harris. So if you want to read that stuff, more than welcome to join us. $3.99 a month or $39.99 on an annual basis. You get a 14-day free trial. Check it out. Thanks in advance. Back to your regularly scheduled program. Voters recognize their progressive leftist policies directly harmed and impacted residents, neighborhoods, working and middle-class families, and small businesses, said Huon Yin, the president of Oakland Police Officers Association. However, tremendous damage has been done by both Thao and Price. There will not be a quick recovery, and the road ahead will be challenging. You know where else has had similar type thing done to it? Seattle, Portland, LA. Yeah, San Francisco. And when you do that, we are dealing with the impacts here in Seattle of this kind of thing. I mean, in a big, big way. Portland had hardly any cops on the ground during the election when there was unrest going on. You got Antifa is just itching its fingers to do a little bit of looting, smash some windows, maybe light a dumpster on fire, try and let the federal building on fire. You've got all that going on, right? And you don't have enough cops to defend the residents of Portland. If something goes sideways, it's just like Seattle. You have a big sideshow here in Seattle. Don't have enough cops. They basically just have to monitor the situation and let it happen, because a couple of cops, a handful of cops versus 200-300 people that are already out of their minds. You know, we're going to drive our cars real fast in a circle. And we're going to just drift. It's the greatest thing ever. The Alameda County Board of Supervisors will appoint Price's successor, who will serve until the next general election in 2026. What a drag. You brought somebody in that, did exactly what they said they were going to do. They did exactly what they campaigned on. Not unlike Let's Go Brandon Johnson in Chicago, right? Hey, let's elect a super progressive, justice reform kind of guy as mayor, and we'll just see how this works out. And it doesn't work out well at all. But, electorates, that's what you voted for. That's who you wanted. So you are getting what you wanted. And then you want to recall immediately? Interesting. How did people not see that this is the way this was going to go down? How was that not, how did that not come up? There we go. Here's George Gascon. Okay. They voted George Gascon on Tuesday in favor of Nathan Hochman, a prosecutor with a more moderate approach. Hochman, the former federal prosecutor underneath George Gascon, and a Republican turned independent. Oh, do we have a Republican in San Francisco? Won the race with 61.5% of the vote to Gascon's 38.5. Again, nearly 60-65 ratio to 35 on the opposing side, on the loser side. Loser. So the Associated Press called the race for Oakland early Wednesday. Gascon's defeat is the latest in a string of losses for Golden State Democrats who were swept into office, promising a progressive vision on crime and punishment. What does that progressive vision on crime and punishment look like, other than just letting people go? Where's the progress there? I say you need to incarcerate them for longer periods because that gets these knuckleheads off the street. Yeah. And if they can't work it out that they're not going to reoffend, if they're going to keep stealing, they're going to keep doing whatever, shooting people, stealing cars, incarcerate them, lock them up, let them spin their wheels in prison. I mean, that's all you got, right? No, Sean, we need to do this progressive vision on crime and punishment. 2022, voters in San Francisco recalled their far-left prosecutor, Chesa Boudin, and then overwhelmingly passed a pair of tough-on-crime ballot measures earlier this year. California as a whole just passed Proposition 36, which kind of counteracts a lot of Proposition 47, which was the big one back in 2014 that ushered in this era of not tough on crime. This whole notion that if you just let people be, they're going to make good decisions and they won't continue to reoffend. Well, that's not how criminals work, right? That's not how criminals operate. So you got to push back. Preliminary results show that fed-up voters in Oakland and Alameda County also recalled Mayor Sheng Thao and far-left District Attorney Pamela Price. So it's the tri-pack, right? Three-pack, a 2-for-1 plus 1. The result in Los Angeles wasn't really in doubt. An early October poll by the University of California, UC Berkeley, I'm sure that's an accurate poll. Yeah, showed Hochman with a 30-point lead over Gascon. More recent poll showed Gascon down by 25 points. Man, what a rout. Former San Francisco District Attorney Chesa Boudin on the city's hard turn to the right. San Francisco has not had a hard turn to the right. It's just the whacked out far left policies and folks associated with that are being tossed by the wayside because their methodology does not work. This whole justice reform thing literally results in more criminality coming on the streets, impacting the tax-paying residents that make up these constituencies. So it's not that hard to figure out, right? But then you got knuckleheads like Chesa Boudin and everybody's like, oh, he's going to be the greatest thing ever. Just read a couple of paragraphs from here. Chesa Boudin was San Francisco's top prosecutor for less than 3 years. In that short time, he became a potent symbol of a movement to rethink crime and punishment's promises and its perils. We're going to rethink. We're going to reimagine crime. What's that look like? Yeah. It looks like what San Francisco and Oakland look like now. Seattle, parts of Seattle as well. Portland, LA. That is reimagining crime. That's not good. I don't want to think about that. Public defender and son of leftist radicals who spent years in prison for their roles in a deadly armed robbery was elected district attorney on a platform of cutting incarceration and cracking down on rogue cops. It didn't last long. He was ousted in a 2022 recall election fomented by a potent blend of crime fears fanned by increases in homicides and property crimes COVID area frustration and Boudin's practice of diverting offenders. Man, you know what? Bottom line is he flat did exactly what you voted him to do. And then you're like, I am shocked and I can't express my frustration with this individual. We have to get him out of here. He did exactly what he said he was going to do. What do you guys think would happen? Chicago, what did you think would happen when you elected, let's go, Brandon Johnson, another progressive? Yeah, get what you pay for. You guys are getting what you pay for. So now you're having to go through a recall deal, and you recalled Chesa Boudin because he was so bad. So you know what would be even better is that if you just didn't elect actual knuckleheads who go down these pathways, and then you realize, oh my gosh, this isn't good for our public safety. What happened? Where did we go wrong? Well, where you went wrong is you hired him in the first place. Progressive, soft on crime, justice reform. It doesn't work out. It doesn't work out. You've got one criminal system, and we're not going to do the whole abolish police, defund the police, get rid of all the jails, get rid of the legal system, get rid of judges. We're not doing that. So you're stuck with the justice system you have right now. And that means you need to throw a bunch of people in jail, let them sit there, let them stew, because at least that way they're not out impacting public safety. Period. Right? Yet the larger progressive approach to criminal justice Boudin embodied endures. Now, how's that working out? Are people feeling safer? Are they moving in droves to areas where you've got justice reform? It's not happening, is it? No, they're going elsewhere. They're leaving. Yeah, they're just up and leaving. They leave with their money and they leave you with a, criminal system that flourishes. Yeah, you got homelessness, you got drugs, you got a legal system that doesn't really impact them. They can flourish. They can just do their thing and flourish. At the same time, public safety has become a politically volatile issue that Republicans eagerly and effectively use as a bludgeon. Well, it's not that hard. I mean, what's a conservative? Yeah, it's a liberal that just got mugged. Public safety. We need to address it. What's going on here? Let's recall that guy. Some wary Democrats in blue states like New York and California have begun to retreat by reversing changes to bail, no cash bail, and the discovery process, and mulling together property crime penalties because you've been overrun with property crimes. Marking yet another turn in a decades-long push and pull. How is that working out for you? That's what I would say. How's that overall been working out for you? Are more people moving into the area or moving out because of crime? Yeah, that's a rhetorical question. You don't really need to answer it because we know what the data says. Yeah, we know what the data says. Wild stuff, right? So I was surprised that, one of these recalls just didn't go sideways because that often happens. It's unusual to have like 3 for 3, especially high level elected officials like this. It's like, oh, that guy, those 2 women. Oh, yeah. And that guy a couple of years ago. Wild stuff. All right. So, Will the Streets of San Francisco. You watched that show as a kid? I did. It was great. Michael Douglas. Yeah. And what's the other guy's name? I know him. Yeah. That was a fun show to watch. I remember thinking, those guys are so cool. They just walk around and do their thing and solve crimes. And man, in 45-minute episode, they get it solved every single time and they just drill it. Yeah. All right. That's it for me on this one. Thanks so much for being here. I'll catch up with you in the next one. Bye for now.